boys and girls, and everybody in between. Welcome to Cinema Grotesque. Hey everybody, I'm Travis McKeithen, and with me is...
I go by many different names. Some call me Ayat, some call me Igil, some call me Iceman E, some call me Vanilla Ice. But those people will get sued.
Exactly.
For copyright infringement.
Yep, he's got a TM tattooed on his ass. He is trademarked fully. So yeah, call him a good old Eagle or Eagle or whatever works for you for the most part. But this is Cinema Grotesque. Thank you for coming back after listening to Star Babe. Us going on about Star Babe for longer than the movie actually was.
Today, there was a lot to unpack.
There really was. There's
a lot.
There's so many philosophical issues with Star Babe. We really had to break into each one of them. In fact,
you can't just say it's bad. It's bad on so many levels. You've got to examine it.
Exactly. But you come back and joined us for another episode, so we love you to death. Today, though, we have something that's considerably different than the last one. It's a bit more modern, we could say, because it was released in the 2000s, and that would be Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys.
Yes, the redheaded stepchild of the Full Moon Features family, because it wasn't really made by them, even though it's their premiere franchise and one of their more known franchise, should we say.
Exactly. Yeah, for some reason, at some point in time, Full Moon, if you don't know them, take a look at their website. They're known for making low-budget horror movies. They've been doing it since the early 80s. They have made a bunch of stuff that's recognizable, such as Puppet Master. Some people may be aware of Doll Man, or even, just a handful of more that, honestly, fun movies, typically. This one is no different, but yeah, they let go of two of their properties to let what I believe, I've only done a little bit of research about this, but this was the Sci-Fi Channel that did this one, wasn't it?
Well, it was the Sci-Fi Channel that produced it, but the production house was some other, something nobody's even heard of.
I can imagine so. Yeah, I tried to do a little bit of research on their props team as far as that goes, because their props team actually has done a lot of movies. None of them very high quality, but we'll get into that here in a little while. So yeah,
it was the production company was Apollo Pro Screen Film Production with a K.
Because they're edgy.
So that's what you're dealing with.
Exactly. Typos. The production company.
Well, I don't think it's a typo. I just think they're based somewhere where film production. Yeah, Germany. Based in Germany.
Could be. There was definitely some people very drunk when making this movie. That's for sure. So, you said you had a little bit of a backstory, because I think to really appreciate this movie, you've got to appreciate where it came from. And as we both said, these are both well-known franchises through Full Moon Productions. So yeah, let's hear a little bit about our two combatants that we have in this movie.
Yeah, so before we get into that, we had Full Moon Productions, but it's gone through a number of name changes. It was Full Moon Features, then it was Full Moon Productions, then it was Full Moon Studios, in something that I can only suspect is some kind of a bankruptcy Ponzi scheme.
Probably.
Or some kind of registration bankruptcy loophole. But with the 2000s, the advent of DVD came around, and that really hurt the sort of smaller studios who were making low budget horror films and whatnot. Firstly, because there were just such a torrent of bad horror movies and forgettable stuff that the market was really saturated. Then the DVD came and sort of split the market into DVD and VHS, so production costs went up, and they had a really hard time. So I'm just thinking most likely that they just didn't have any money, so they just signed this off to the Sci-Fi Channel just to get some some liquidation, get some money going through, I think.
Yeah, just for their trademark, if nothing else. Because at that point in time, probably where they were at as a company, just raising funds to even make a movie was probably difficult enough. So yeah, definitely. Okay, somebody else take our crap so you can give us a little bit of spare cash so we can make another movie, if at all possible. And that definitely does seem like the case.
Yeah, but and the funny thing is that like especially the Puppet Master series, it was really known for like very gory kills.
Oh yeah.
It was, there was like Leech Woman, especially from I think 2 or 3. She really freaked me out when I was a kid. It's a doll that like leeches pour out of, and
yeah.
So, but when the Sci-Fi Channel took it over, they was like, nope, we're gonna do PG-13.
Of course.
So this is a PG-13, totally toothless horror comedy. But amazingly, this movie is just fantastic because really of only one reason.
And what is that? Or who is that, should I say?
Yes, that is more who than what. It is our star for this feature is Corey Feldman, who you may know from The Goonies and Corey versus Corey, or whatever that movie was called.
And Stand By Me. He's been in so many movies that you would definitely recognize him from the 80s.
Yes, he former child star Corey Feldman. Now, I said some things in the last podcast that I have to redact, or at least say that I regret saying them. He's had a hard life, so being somewhat weird now as an adult is kind of a given.
Expected, at least. Yeah. He's he was one of the
and
kids.
just with this movie, he has atoned for anything he could possibly do other than criminal activity.
Yeah, I have to say, I was very familiar with Corey Feldman, especially due to the stuff that he did when he was younger. I wasn't so much aware of this one, being a huge fan of the Puppet Master series. I knew it was a thing, but I also knew it was something that I probably wanted to keep my hands off of, so I avoided it for a considerable period of time, up until recently. So yeah, no, absolutely. Corey Feldman, if nothing else, kind of going a little bit far here, it looks like he had a really good time doing this. And if nothing else, that's what makes it worthwhile and worth watching, honestly.
Well, it not only looks like he had a fun time doing it, it looks like he was like committed to the part and to everything going on 110%.
Oh, exactly. I mean, there was no tongue in cheek here. He was genuinely.
No, he was. This is like I was saying. This is like Nicolas Cage level of engagement in the film.
I can see that for sure. So yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So this basically you have Corey Feldman playing what Nicolas Cage would do if Nicolas Cage played Solid Snake.
That's about as accurate as you can get. Yeah.
With an even worse wig than Nicolas Cage wore in Con Air.
Yeah, it's very obvious. It looks like it was something that was picked up at Walmart well after Halloween.
Not even, because they just look bad, but this was some kind of just special bad. Like this is not something bad that is made like accidentally. This is the kind of bad that is made on purpose.
Yeah, kind of permanent bedhead gray hair wig was kind of what was going on there.
If you look at a picture of Beethoven in his later stages in life, it was kind of that. It's like, I'm crazy.
Pretty much, yeah. Almost identical to that. So, yeah.
So, alongside Corey Feldman, we also have Vanessa Angel, who is best probably known for being that sexy lady in Kingpin.
Yep.
That's that sexy lady in the Weird Science TV show. Which I didn't even know was a thing.
Me either. I'm just looking at the IMDb.
and also a sexy lady on Stargate.
Yep, she does have a role that she typically plays. Not
Not
saying
going to say she's typecast.
no, yeah, especially not in this movie, but we'll get on to that.
We'll get on to that. So, but yeah, before we go on, this is the second versus Demonic Toys film. The first was made by Full Moon, but I have to say this one blows that one out of the water because Doll Man versus Demonic Toys was 80%. 80% of that movie was reused footage from 3 other Full Moon movies, which was Doll Man, Demonic Toys, and the movie Bad Channels.
Yeah, it's kind of
Charlie Band being a very naughty boy there.
Yeah, I found that in a handful of the lower budget studios, as far as that goes. Maybe they had a heyday at one point in time. They could afford a really cool effect this one time. And it's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to essentially make a movie by editing together other movies and shooting a very minimal amount. So yeah, I have no doubt that was definitely the case with that one.
Like Dollman versus Demonic Toys is 80% flashbacks. And then the rest of 20% is people saying, you know, I remember a year ago. Broom, broom, broom.
Yeah, you gotta love that. It's cheap, but it has its charms.
And that has a Blu-ray release.
Yeah, which oddly enough, this one definitely
only
does.
has a DVD release.
Yeah, and I think the version that I saw was more along the lines of VHS quality. But nonetheless,
So let's get into this movie. So I forgot when I picked this movie that it's a Christmas movie.
yeah, just opening up, it opens up with this totally public domain Christmas song. I think it was Jingle Bells. And
it's like a version of Jingle Bells that is trying to avoid copyright infringement.
They're as hard as they possibly can, and a very weird filter on a Christmas tree as it pans around the Christmas tree. So yeah, it's definitely very Christmassy as it starts off, which kind of throws you for a loop when you don't realize that, yeah, indeed, this is supposed to be taking place around Christmas, which actually does play a reason and has a role later on in the movie.
Yes. So, so the basic premise, if we've got to get into that, Corey Feldman is playing Robert Tulloon, a grand nephew of the sort of the series protagonist up until that point, Andre Tulloon.
Yes.
He was apparently in France and just so happened to stumble across his great uncle's doll collection of magical living dolls at a flea market.
Yep. Him and his now ex-wife.
Yes, and then like he said, well, the family has guarded these puppets and this formula which is needed to make the puppets come alive with their lives for centuries, and then it ends up in a random flea market.
Because, you know, all Toulons probably fall on hard times. They are all pretty mad, if I have to imagine. I can imagine them going to the pawn shop and saying, you know what, I can't eat tonight if I don't sell it, so here, how would you like these creepy puppets? He said, okay, I'll give you $5.
Send the puppets out and kill someone and then eat their food.
That would help.
They wouldn't have had a problem with that in the old series.
Yeah, that's one thing. If nothing else, this movie has definitely motivated me. I'm going to go back. I've got the entire, I think, 8 films in a DVD box set. I'm going to go through and watch them all now, just because I had so much fun watching this. So yeah, Crazy McCrazy Pants.
Great. Yeah. Crazy McCrazy, Corey Feldman, and his teenage daughter, Alex, which is played by Michelle Keaton, I think is...
Danielle Keaton.
Danielle Keaton. She's probably like 24 in that, when this was shot, because like they keep her in pigtails the whole movie through,
Yeah.
and like these super girly clothes. It's
Oh yeah,
really they were clearly like, yeah, no, she's young. She's young.
she
Trust
has
us.
the virginal girl next door type look throughout the entire movie for sure. Trying to trying to make Corey Feldman in this, which is, I mean, he couldn't be much more than what, maybe just hit 40. He was born in 71. This was in 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. And this was made in 2004. So yeah, he's 1 year older than I am. So yeah, he was 20 or 34 in 2000.
Yeah, it was just past 30.
Well, yeah, just past. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm bad with math. So yeah, he's supposed to be playing somebody who has already fathered a teenage child, which is a little bit hard to believe. But hint, that's why they got the gray mask on him. That added so much age.
That's why they have the hair.
Exactly. So cool. So yeah.
Yeah, we are introduced to Corey Feldman, and just like just the first line reading just sent me bursting with laughter, which was, "I hate those commercials. They're so misleading."
And yeah, pretty much with that, he's actually referencing a commercial that is being put on by a rival toy company or a massive conglomerate toy company, which happens. I won't bury the lead just yet, but the toys that they're showing off might have been shown in other movies before.
They're the demonic toys. Let's just come out.
Let's go ahead and do it.
The funny thing is that the demonic toys seem like the most lamest Christmas toys ever.
They really are. Think about a Cabbage Patch Kid. For those who are familiar, it was a very big trend back in the 80s. Imagine that had been run over by a car and set on fire, and that's kind of what you get with one of the demonic toys in this case.
Yeah, so it's just a generic ugly baby doll, a teddy bear, and a Jack-in-the-Box.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your Christmas pals, which this company is selling like in the millions.
Like hotcakes. They're so popular.
Like, I know there's a lot, like probably some demonic influence going around, but god damn it, these must have been the dullest toys ever. They move a bit, and that's what's special about them, I guess.
Well, that's the funny thing is, although this movie was released in 2004, it really had an 80s feel about it. I don't know if it was supposed to be during that time frame or not. I don't think it was, because they did have cell phones. And they had
I think it was rather late 90s. Rather than early 2000s.
I can see that, yeah, them betraying around that time, because, yeah, I don't know about them, but me as a small boy was to get a really shitty little baby doll and or a teddy bear at that age, I'd been pretty pissed off, but all these kids in the commercials, they're fucking stoked.
And just kids in the movie in general, they're just fucking stoked about these, like, lame-ass toys. They don't even have guns.
Exactly. Yeah, there was something wrong with the youth in this movie. Well, there's something wrong with the youth, period, but definitely in this movie. So yeah, needless to say, after he sees that commercial, that's our opening established shot of what's going on. A commercial about these toys that this mega conglomerate is selling. And Corey Feldman, I'm not even going to call him by his character's name. He's just Corey Feldman.
He's Corey Feldman.
So Corey Feldman is very disgusted by this commercial, and needless to say, they pretty much jump right into it. He's there in his laboratory, pretty much working on the original Puppet Master. Actually, not the original ones, because Six Shooter wasn't an original puppet original puppet.
Yeah, this is like a sort of a best of cast.
Yeah, these are the ones we could afford.
Yeah, these are like Leech Lady is probably way too expensive.
Yeah, even
Torch,
the Totem was way too much.
Yeah, the Torch one, that was probably way too.
Yeah, you had to have some type of pyrotechnics, and that would take money. So needless to say, we have our...
Luckily for them, Blade is sort of the, primary puppet in that series. And all he has is a knife for a hand and a hook for a hand.
Exactly.
So they were very lucky about that.
Exactly. And I mean, they did have a lot of the good ones. I mean, they, as you said, they had Blade, they had Pinhead from the original, they had Jester from the original one. Then they brought in Six Shooter, which I believe came in number 2 of Puppet Master, which was always one of my favorite puppets.
Number 2 or number 3. I think number 3 rather.
Yeah, I confuse those too.
Yeah. But Oh yeah, okay. So let's just dive into this and talk about the main attraction. Let's talk about Corey Feldman's performance in this film.
Ooh, bad.
Now, I want you to pick one single word to describe his performance.
A single word
A single word to describe this performance.
I would say, if I had a single word, it would definitely be energetic. He was very energetic throughout the entire movie.
Like, my word is intergalactic good. I had to invent the word because it's so amazing.
He was on top of his game. And I mean, once again, for people watching from the outside in, you're not looking at Shakespeare here, but you're looking at something which I would easily put up against any type of Shakespearean performance, because it's this is rivals Nicolas Cage on his A game. Exactly. It definitely holds up with Nicolas Cage. It would bypass Steven Seagal, in my opinion. Bypass Chuck Norris. There's a handful of people that I would say he did a much better job than they usually do. Maybe even I'd say he's on Van Damme level. Would you say Van Damme level's about right for this one?
No, Van Damme couldn't hold a candle next to him.
Well, there we go.
Like I said, it's him and Nicolas Cage. I'm just going to put them on a shelf.
All right.
And nobody touches that shelf.
I can appreciate that because, yeah, I mean, he is literally, there's not a single line that comes out of his mouth that isn't incredibly intense. Everything he says has so much meaning that he has to portray it, like you said, with Solid Snake's voice and just this meandering old person acting that is, it's just really phenomenal.
There's a scene towards the end of the film where he sort of pieces together that the jingle for the Christmas pals is actually some sort of prophecy. They give away the secret in the jingle, and he recites the whole jingle. Christmas pals, Christmas pals. Oh, what fun with Christmas pals. Oh, what fun you will have on Christmas Day when the Christmas pals wake up to play.
It was very Shatner-esque, I would say, in the way that he delivered some of those lines. Everything had such meaning and emotion, no matter what he was saying.
Gravitas.
Exactly. That is the perfect word for that scenario.
And just like the next line reading was, "What's the time on that bitch?" It's just...
It comes out of nowhere. There's no type
out of nowhere.
It's really just like, okay, well, why are you calling this young girl a bitch? Which they obviously automatically fix that quickly by his...
No, she's just like, who are you calling a bitch? Yeah. Batch. I mean, Batch.
Of course. And he was
thinking about your mother.
Yeah, you got to go with the stereotypical ex-wife scenario here because that works. Adding another titular character to this already amazing movie would be too much. So he's divorced. He's a little bit crazy, so naturally the woman couldn't put up with him.
I just can't think, like, what must it be for this teenage girl to be living in this sort of home life where your father is constantly talking about how much of a whore your mother is.
She seemed to dig it, though. I never saw her complain one time.
Yes, what kind of...
Yeah, she needless to say, she is a jack of all trades, as we learn later on in the movie. But yeah, she's highly intelligent, and she believes everything that her father says about trying to bring puppets back to life.
And yes, and you know, to bring the puppets to life, they have to create this alchemical formula, which requires the blood of a Toulon.
Of course.
Now, I know what you're thinking. What would be the base ingredient for an alchemical formula that brings inanimate objects to life?
Well, you would think it would have to be some type of chemical compound that's very rigorously structured. We're bringing something back to life. What chemical that we know of could possibly bring puppets to life?
Vodka.
Oh yeah, vodka. Yeah, that brings everybody to life.
Hey! It works on my grandma.
There you go. Exactly. She's died 40 times already.
Well, yeah, but I just like how willy-nilly they show this teenage girl's handling just like an absurd amount of vodka bottles.
Oh yeah, it's like boxes upon boxes of just the same labeled like cheap bottom of the barrel vodka that she keeps going into, and yeah, just no questions about it. They never explain it. It's just simply, yep, it takes a whole lot of vodka to bring puppets to life.
Apparently, vodka and blood. That's basically it.
That's really all you need. I think they had some blue food coloring in there at some point in time, but they didn't show that process.
Yeah, there was like some other things, but mainly just, blood and vodka.
Exactly.
So, they inject the puppets with this magic formula and they come back to life.
Yep.
Which, of course, it's needed because it's called Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. You need the Puppet Master puppet. So they wake up and Six Shooter is just angry and just points his gun everywhere. So Corey Feldman goes, he wants his guns loaded. And Corey Feldman doesn't see no problem with this.
Not at all. You've got a just reanimated puppet who really wants to shoot you, or at least appears to.
He really just wants to shoot.
Yeah.
And they have a very long history of killing people, these puppets.
Oh, yeah.
Horribly.
At least 10 movies.
And, given that he's, the distant cousin of Andre Toulon, wouldn't they just be like, hey, that doesn't count? When Vanilla Ice says he's 1/16th Indian.
Pretty much. I don't know. In America, you have to be 1/16th.
No. Let's just trust these puppets that have a long history of violence and murder. What's the worst that could happen?
It should be totally fine. I think they're going to have a nice picnic out on the beach. Everything's going to be beautiful. But no.
But of course it turns sour because later on, the toy company sends its minions to go and steal the puppets, and Six Shooter shoots a bunch of chemicals which sets fire to both the puppets and the lab.
But not to the attackers, oddly enough.
No, so loading his guns only made things worse.
Exactly. It was kind of preordained that something bad was going to happen when you loaded the reanimated puppets' guns back. So yeah, needless to say, we've got a... they bring the puppets back to life, and they have this amazing line. Corey Feldman has this amazing line, which is, if we invented gasoline, would that get us anywhere? The answer is no. We would have to invent the car. Which, you know what gasoline is? It's a highly flammable but totally safe to transport thing that has a million different uses. Oh yeah. It's kind of poetic, we'll say. Poetic license, at least.
I mean, you could invent gasoline and be set for fucking life. It can be used as a solvent. For instance, skunk spray can be completely neutralized with gasoline and works better than the old tomato juice wives' tale.
Well, I just learned something on our podcast.
Yeah, it could be used for heating. It has 1,000 uses. And in fact, the car was invented before gasoline. Originally, they were meant to run on vegetable or seed oil, and the first diesel engine ran on peanut oil for the 1900 World Fair.
So back to the movie.
That was your fun fact for today.
Exactly. We learned something very important, and that's really what we're here to do on Cinema Grotesque.
So Vanessa Angel is playing the evil owner of a toy company.
Yep.
So my question is, why are toy makers always dicks to children in horror films?
I think they're pretty much saying, something tells me there's a lot of meaning to this, is that to be a multi-million-dollar rich person who owns a toy company, you have to be batshit insane. Absolutely ridiculously insane, and have some type of weird missing childhood scenario. But yeah, we'll get back into that. There should be a whole character study on Vanessa Angel from this movie, because she goes through all kinds of different mood swings and just different. I think she changes age like about 20 different times in her performance.
Yes.
So yeah,
and the crazy thing is, like, she gives a legitimately nuanced and good performance.
at parts.
Like, see, it's at least very interesting, I think. I mean, she's next to Corey Feldman, not so much, but
Yeah, of course.
like, if Corey Feldman was played by anyone else, she would totally be toe to toe with him.
Agreed.
But so, like, her plan is extensively to rip off the evil mask maker's plans from Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
I didn't watch that one. Explain.
The season of the witch was, there's an evil toy maker who's making Halloween masks, and all the kids are getting these Halloween masks, and on Halloween they're gonna play a commercial, the masks will then eat all the children and turn them into abomination and cause the end of the world.
Okay.
So I think what happened was someone saw Halloween 3: Season of the Witch and said, this movie doesn't have Michael Myers in it. It should have Michael Myers in it. So this movie is just basically Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, but Michael Myers is on the good guy's side, but working with the evil toy maker is the tall man from Phantasm.
Yes, I knew him from somewhere. I just didn't look him up.
No, it's not him. It's not him. He just really looks like him.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Well, we'll pretend it is.
Well, yeah, it's like... But they couldn't get the rights from Universal, so they went to Full Moon.
Okay, yep. That makes more sense.
With the intent to fix Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
Exactly. So yeah, needless to say, she is our stereotypical villain, and they make sure it shows that, because she's spying in on Corey Feldman and Corey Feldman's daughter, as they are in fact finally bringing the puppets to life. And there's nothing that she wants more in this world. I mean, she is super rich. She is amazingly attractive at the time, sure. But she needs to have those toys. She needs to have those Toulon puppets to be happy.
Even though she's causing the end of the world in like 3 days.
Exactly, yeah. Her plan, just to go a little bit deep into it, the demonic toy side of Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, she actually has these demonic toys. They were her father's, I believe, when her father sold his soul to the devil.
No, like, his father sold his soul to Baal, the demon.
Okay, yeah.
In order to get living toys, which was her daughter's heart, like, dearest wish.
Exactly.
Which, not a great plan, I think.
No, not really. She kind of, actually, that's who it reminds me of. She reminds me of Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka, to where she was the type that no matter what, she got what she wanted. Like, she was a poor little rich girl that was just whine until she gets what she wants. And she's pretty much still the same thing as an adult here in the movie.
Like, this is basically Veruca Salt.
Exactly. No, I think that's a perfect idea there, especially the performance is damn near dead on from that movie. So we find out
she's been spying on them, and she sees they have the puppets now. They're alive. Mm-hmm. I want those puppets. I am going to send my henchmen to theirs, to their house and steal the puppets.
Well, there's one problem, Ego. How would you know that they're henchmen of this company? This might be bearing the lead a little bit, but how could you possibly know? I mean, obviously they're going to be in all black, because that's what henchmen do. They can't be seen in the night.
They're burglars, so.
Exactly. So there must be some way to know specifically that these people work for this evil woman.
And so why not just tattoo the company logo on their hands, and the company logo also happens to be some sort of demonic sigil.
And by you saying tattooing, I think you're being very, very kind there. Because this was pretty much one of those really big fat markers you played with in kindergarten that if you sniffed it enough, you got high. That's what they used to tattoo this insignia onto their hands. So yeah, pretty much evil guys are got black marker
And
on
they're
them.
demon worshippers also.
Of course, because you're not a good henchman unless you believe in the almighty Baal or Satan, which are pretty much interchangeable in this.
Yeah, in this movie. But yeah, what really gets me is like she sends these henchmen, but she doesn't even warn them that these are deadly puppets who have killed dozens of people,
If not hundreds by this time.
if not hundreds by this time. Not even, hey, be careful. They're kind of dangerous because they just walk up and just take them with like their hands. They don't
Yeah.
have a net or any kind of safety. It's like you know about these puppets, Vanessa
should.
Angel. You know, it's like she goes like, I have studied these puppets. They have been in the family for generations, blah, blah, blah. She knows about the puppets. She should know that they are very, very dangerous killing machines.
Yeah, because these henchmen, oddly enough, at least at the beginning, when they're breaking and entering into Corey Feldman's house, they bring no weapons at all. They just literally just come in the house. There's no gun. There's no
Yeah.
knife. They just waltz right in and go attempt to steal the puppets.
Like, yeah, in the most, just straightforward picking them up manner.
Exactly.
But of course, Blades just slashes their wrist.
Because you got a fucking puppet that has a knife for a hand that is going to be moving, but no, don't worry about it.
No, don't
Safety
worry
not
about it.
needed.
And then, like we said, Six Shooter shoots up the place and sets fire to it all. And the henchmen just sort of, retreat like cowards.
Yeah, they just kind of said, you know what, fire, we're out. This lady doesn't need these puppets that bad. It's getting a little bit warm in here. It's time to go back to the evil corporation. But that not before, of course. Of course, with all the commotion going on, it woke up Corey Feldman. So Corey Feldman came down to see what was happening while the henchmen were attempting to steal the puppets. And needless to say, he just got cold cocked. There was nothing really that happened there.
One punch to the nose and he's out.
Exactly, which they do amazing makeup with afterwards to show that he was indeed punched. And it kind of changes throughout the rest of the movie. But yeah, he was definitely punched. It left him a little cut on his nose, which, come to find out, will play a little bit of a role later on. So yeah, henchmen are gone. Let's see here. Henchmen are gone. They didn't get the puppets. Pretty much. Toulon. Why do I call him Toulon? Corey Feldman and his daughter. Pretty much. Corey Feldman wakes up after getting cold cocked, and needless to say, they want to put out the fire. So, fortunately, Corey Feldman's daughter has access to the fire extinguisher. So she puts out, of course, the puppets first, because the puppets are very important. Then the fire that's going on the table, and then she realizes that her father won't wake up. She's very nervous. She tries pushing him to wake him up. It won't work. So naturally, the fire extinguisher worked on everything else. So let's spray our father with a fire extinguisher to get him to wake up from being knocked out. And it worked.
It works. And it's not hazardous to him at all.
Not at all. He gets right up and he's back in the game.
So then we cut back to Sharp Industries headquarters, where Vanessa Angel goes, and this movie teaches us a very valuable lesson. If the head of the company that you work for, if you're a receptionist, the head of the company comes and asks, "Hey, are you a virgin?"
Just say no.
Always say no.
Just
Always
fucking say no.
At worst, then she's going to fire you for being a whore, but, you can find a new job.
Yeah, because God forbid
If you do make the mistake of saying yes, and your employer then invites you into an elevator to meet the board of directors, run away as fast as possible.
Yeah, especially
if it's in the middle of the night.
And especially if the only way that you can access the floor in which the directors are on is by taking a weird amulet necklace and placing it on a place that obviously was made for it in the elevator, but taking it and turning it, and that's what brings you down, because obviously evil is down. You would think a penthouse board of directors on top floor. Nope, not here. Our board of directors are down on the basement that you have to access with a fucking amulet.
In a literal dungeon.
Yep, pretty much a dungeon
It
with
has It has like big stone block walls, and it's a literal dungeon.
Exactly. That comes with not only a very 80s-esque Iron Maiden that is nice, bright, and pink and white, but all,
And like with heavy machinery attached to it, and like where do you get that? Who makes that? Did they make it themselves?
well, you got
I
to
mean,
think.
they are a toy company.
They also
But
do have a pit that goes to hell there. So something tells me if you can get a pit that goes to hell in one of your floors for your business, you can probably get an Iron Maiden with all the features. You're not getting just a stock Iron Maiden here. You're getting it with all the bells and whistles. It's going to be a lovely time. In fact, so yeah, needless to say, when they get down there, and obviously I would be nervous as well. All of a sudden, everything's nice and bright and serene, and you have this beautiful building, and now all of a sudden you are in a stereotypical this dungeon has evil things happening type of dungeon. And yeah, needless to say, you're down there and you pretty much know you're fucked. Of course, you would have to ask. She wanted to see the board of directors because she was told that she was going to be introduced to the board of directors. So, needless to say, she asks, "Well, where are the board of directors?" And needless to say, she gets an answer back.
Well, the board of directors introduced themselves as the demonic toys, which I don't think they are a board of directors.
I kind of doubt it. I don't believe they have the business sense that would be needed in a multinational, multi-million-dollar company, but it's a possibility.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I want to go back because, like, when they are walking with the receptionist into the dungeon, it feels like a very bad lesbian version of 50 Shades of Grey.
I could see that.
She's like, this is my own personal playroom. Like talking about the dungeon, and I'm going to let you play with my toys. It was really reminiscent of that, and it made me very uncomfortable.
As it should, honestly. Maybe not Star Babe uncomfortable, but yeah, pretty close.
No, thank God, no. So they sacrificed the virgin receptionist to summon a demon.
Exactly, but the most important part of that is when she decides to summon the demon, because she actually calls forth a lot of different powers to make sure that he is going to come up and be revitalized for this time after he feeds the virgin blood to her. One of which was the demon of wealth and profit, which I've read a little bit into, we'll say mythology lore. There's a lot of demons. There's a lot of gods. I've never heard of one of profit and essentially money devil.
I am not a demonologist.
Not yet. You're studying.
But well, hopefully one day. But I mean, I could see a demon of greed and profit being there.
Could be.
Greed is a deadly sin, right? So
probably
would make sense for a demon to correlate to those deadly sins.
I suppose so. It was just the use of profit. Like
Yes.
pretty much anybody who makes a lot of money in business actually is a devil worshiper of some sort. They have some demon that makes sure, like old Grandma May down the street where she makes muffins. The only time she makes any money is whenever she actually has some type of satanic ritual, so she can get profits. That's what I'd like to think, at least.
But yeah, so the commotion in the Toulon house, we cut back there, it has alerted the police. And so a single officer comes.
Yep.
Which, I thought it was standard procedures for cops to have partners.
Sometimes you never really know. In this situation, I think it was probably for the best. It was essentially she was responding to a disturbance, and so the disturbance was very just up in the air. No telling what was happening. Just a very concerned neighbor called after hearing and seeing what happened.
At multiple moments in this movie, it would have been very beneficial to her to have a partner, so she wouldn't be in mortal danger all the time and have nobody to help her.
That is true. And the whole thing is, I want to go ahead and state this now. Under no circumstances am I saying that a woman should be judged based on her looks, but this woman had a chin that put Bruce Campbell to shame. She had a chin that went on for days.
It was a very Eastern European look.
Oh, definitely. She could have been a Viking at some point in time in her life.
So, yeah, but the funny thing is, like, she's from Czechoslovakia, which I like. Terrific work on the accent. Terrific work.
Oh yeah, I would have never guessed at all. I figured she was just a American actress trying to make a living.
No, yeah. She's from Czechoslovakia, and like her biggest role next to this is Russian model in Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. She'll definitely be able to. And that was Sylvia Suvadova. Suvadova. Yeah, you could probably say it better than I am. But yeah, she plays our Sergeant Jessica Russell, which is the sex appeal of the movie, but also the law and order. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, the sex appeal of this movie is really weird.
Yeah.
Because like you have the teenage daughter. I'm not gonna lie, very attractive. She was probably
lady.
over 18 when this was shot, so I'm not ashamed.
I hope so, but I'm not going to say it just in case.
You have Vanessa Angel, who has traditionally been very attractive, but somehow in this movie they do something which I don't know. She kind of looks like she's made of plastic half the time.
I think they got her for probably very cheap because I believe maybe a day before she just got through having plastic surgery. So everything was very puffy on her. Her lips, her cheekbones, even her forehead. It seemed like she'd just been shot up with Botox every scene that she was in for the most part.
So yeah, so we are yeah. So the police, our Sergeant Russell, comes in and they just sort of talk it out and it's like, oh well, no, nothing really happened. We don't want you to know that we have living puppets. So just go away.
Yeah.
But she does, and then Corey Feldman in his underwear and a t-shirt. Who's just been knocked out cold.
Yep, he's got the mark on his nose to prove it.
Yeah, and he's been talking to this lady officer, and his teenage daughter comes out and says, "Oh, Dad, you're such a dork." To which Corey Feldman replies, "Dork? She thought I was sexy."
Yeah,
really leans into it.
Yeah, I would say he hammed it up more in that line than he did the majority of the rest of the movie, which was a bit odd.
Like, yeah, he was like, he really wanted his teenage daughter to know that a woman found him sexually attractive.
Exactly, because most people probably wouldn't, just to be fair. So yeah.
The Toulons find out that they are being spied on. So Alex, Corey Feldman's teenage daughter, hacks into Sharp's Industries because all teenagers are internet hackers.
Exactly. And that's actually the interesting thing is I actually rewatched this scene a couple of times. And it's good to know that the only thing that you have to hit on the keyboard whenever hacking is just the number keys. That's all they hit. Everything that was being typed on the screen. I mean, this is a typical movie. They always do that. It's just to where you hit every button. But in this situation, it was only the number keys that they hit to both go on a search engine, which was a very, very poor Google translation in that situation.
Which was serialsearcher.com.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like a serial killer reference or something, because it's kind of a horror movie, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly. So probably something going on there. Not sure. But yeah, the reason they are looking to hack now is because they believe that it is the big bad company that's spying on them and Vanessa Angel, et cetera, et cetera. So needless to say, what they do is they go ahead and check it out and they find the little ladybug, which is actually a ladybug that somebody gave Vanessa Angel did give Corey Feldman early when he came in for a job interview for this large company. So needless to say, she gives that to him. It's got a little secret camera put into it. So yeah, needless to say, that's how they've been spying on him the whole time. So they find the bug, we'll say, that's been videotaping them.
And they don't suspect anything.
Not at all.
When they find the bug. They're like, oh, I keep throwing this out. I thought you brought it in. I didn't touch it. So like he's like holding it and just, not really suspecting that it's a spy device until it self-destructs, revealing all the secret gadgetry inside. So if it had just not self-destruct, they wouldn't have suspected a thing.
Exactly. But yeah, pretty much electrocutes and burns Corey Feldman's hand. So needless to say, when it does that, they pick it up and they see that there's some type of video recording device on it, and it's got a serial number. So naturally, whenever you see a serial number on a mechanical device, that's when you decide to go on Serial Searcher to see if you can find out where this thing came from.
Oh, was it Serial Searcher like serial number?
Yeah. There was a serial number on the actual... There you go. We have learned something new today.
I just got that.
So yeah, pretty much, yeah, the serial number on there lets them know for a fact that it is indeed the mega conglomerate that's spying on them, that's trying to get all the secrets about the Toulon puppets. So naturally, the only thing that you could do in that case is just fuck off. just leave.
I mean, before that, they detect that they are being hacked and decide to retaliate by just blowing up their laptop.
Exactly. Back in the 2000s.
Computers.
Yeah, back in the 2000s, it's a little known fact that you could actually blow up other people's laptops if they were trying to hack into your system and they found you out. It was a little device. It was in every laptop. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Google finally got rid of that. All thanks be to Google. But yeah, there was just blowing up laptops left and right back around 2004.
So yeah, they just, we're being spied on and we've been found out, so we gotta fucking hide.
Exactly.
And so where do they go? They go to Corey Feldman's ex-wife's mother's house.
I think that's right, yeah.
Which nobody is there. We don't know why. Like they say his ex-wife is in France or something.
Yeah.
Hawaii. I don't know.
One of the two, yeah.
But why are like the owners of the house not there?
It was never really made apparent. My biggest guess is the makers of this movie said, oh yeah, I've got a buddy who has a mansion out on the hills. We'll go use that. And we can shoot there. Yeah, exactly. We got that location set for little to no money. So yes, we're gonna find a way to shoot in this fucking house. So they do. Yeah. So they go and set up the puppets, and he leaves his daughter in charge to make a new batch of the formula because he only used 1 drop of blood instead of 2 in the previous batch. And that's obviously not as potent. If you're going to bring puppets back to life...
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, when you know that it takes 2 drops of Toulon blood to make the puppets come alive, why would you use 1 drop? That's just laziness, Corey Feldman. Exactly. Very lazy. I'm very ashamed of Corey Feldman for that.
And so... now comes like probably my favorite part of the movie. He says, okay, you make the puppets come back to life. I'm going to go on a sneaking mission. And so Solid Snake, Corey Feldman, goes on a sneaking mission to Sharp Industries.
Oh, yeah.
And just, I stopped the movie and put on the Metal Gear Solid theme while this scene goes on. Because it was amazing.
It was pretty interesting. I've seen a lot of different ways of how people have broken into businesses over the years, but this one was something special. Of course, there's a big building. There's going to be deliveries coming in and out, so there's a big Mack truck. He decided, oh, there's a wheel well where there's not a wheel in it. I'm going to go ahead and sneak in that way, which happens to drive right past the security guard, which is almost at eye level to where Corey Feldman would be in that thing. But nope, just goes right through.
Notices it.
No problem at all.
Everybody's just looking up, like, oh, what's going on? Oh,
Exactly. Yeah, not the best security team, but we'll also get into that a little bit later as well.
So while this is going on, there's a charity benefit hosted by Sharp Industries, and oh my God, Vanessa Angel wears basically Ming the Merciless's outfit for a charity benefit.
Yeah, pretty much. It was think about it in the way of it looked like pajamas, but then with a massive collar that came up behind her. Almost made her look evil.
It was like a sort of dress pajama with just Ming the Merciless collar. It was so fabulous. Oh my God.
It was pretty awesome. Whoever did the costume design for that deserves some kudos, or at least probably more than the minimum wage
nice
they got paid.
The Merciless reference. We don't have too many of those.
Exactly. So yeah, and needless to say, the whole thing is who else could possibly be here at this charity event? It's none other than Sergeant Jessica Russell, who previously
coincidence.
Exactly, because they needed somebody from the police department because reasons.
Well, the police were the beneficiaries of this charity event. The Sharp Industries was giving the police toys to give to disadvantaged children.
Exactly. All right. So
yeah. So it was at this moment where I noticed that Vanessa Angel's accent slips so often because she is very English.
Oh yeah.
But she's so trying hard to do an American accent. But it's just every sort of 10th word or so, she just slips into an English accent. It would be a great drinking game. Drink exactly. Every time Vanessa Angel's accent slips.
I think that was kind of more like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I've already got my check. I just need to kind of whisk through the rest of this movie.
I mean, she was probably in a lot of pain due to all the plastic surgery.
I'd have to imagine, yeah. They covered up the bruises nicely, but otherwise, yeah, everything else still very puffy.
So Corey Feldman is sneaking around the factory or the warehouse and just happens upon the demonic toys, which are going to be sent on a mission by basically the tall man,
yep.
Whose name is Jeremy in this one, which I really liked him. I really liked him in this movie.
He was enjoyable. Julian, there you go. I was about to say, I was looking at it, I was like, that. Yeah, played by Nikolai Sodarov. Which, yeah, he was great. He actually made this movie look like he was genuinely trying, and not in a B movie way, not in a like I'm trying to be silly. No, he was genuinely acting in this movie.
Yeah, he was like genuinely concerned for Vanessa Angel.
Exactly. So yeah, so we get there. He's attempting to transport the toys. When all of a sudden, of course, Corey Feldman happens to be in the same place.
And it's at this moment where we see like the special effects that show the puppets and the toys move and run. They are just freaking magical.
Yeah, it's a mixture of stop motion, very, very, very shoddy stop motion, by the way.
It's basically like they take a picture of the doll, move it a bit, and take another picture, but then they show it at such a fast rate. It's like watching those old, reel things where you had to look in the thing and spin.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We're in Bioshock Infinite.
Exactly. Yeah, it was fascinating to watch because the whole thing is they did similar things in the original Puppet Master movies as well, to where they would do stop motion, but they would take weeks to get that stop motion right to where it looked somewhat natural.
This was just done like in 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. They were just like, we got to get through this. Just take a few pictures, throw them together. We're good.
It's and like there's some CGI in there as well.
Actually, just a very light amount, in all honesty, and that's one thing that I do appreciate.
Because that's because everything looks blurry as fuck.
Exactly. So it helps. So yeah, needless to say, Corey Feldman, as he says later on in the movie, gets his ass kicked by a baby. Or the demonic toy.
Oopsie kicked my butt.
Exactly. So needless to say, from there, yeah, he gets found out. He gets found out for his breaking and entering into Sharp Labs. So, needless to say, it's just the massive coincidence that Mrs. Sergeant Jessica Russell happens to be there as well. And this is when he wants to come clean about everything that's going on, as far as the puppets coming alive, and naturally, just like anybody else, would think he's absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, it's like I have 4 good puppets who are living, and there are 3 demonic toys in there who are going to destroy the world.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Nutso.
Yeah, I mean, needless to say, she finds him batshit crazy as far as that goes, like you would. I mean, you really would. But they know at this point in time, the Sergeant Russell, she brings Corey Feldman back to his car, which he pretty much abandoned in trying to get to the labs.
Well,
So
he didn't want to be spotted. So
Exactly.
he had to leave the car a while away.
they would see his totally random car a mile away. So yeah,
But how did Sergeant Russell know where his car was?
I would have to imagine that would be police deduction. She is very good at what she does. So naturally, she just found it. I mean, he was blathering on, being a maniac about these toys coming to life and how they're trying to take over the world. But ultimately, yeah, that's all you got to worry about, is just that.
So yeah, well, like despite all this, she still treats him like kind of nicely.
Yeah, almost flirtatious, you could almost say.
Yeah,
I mean,
was just a crazy man with terrible hair.
yeah. And Corey Feldman, I guess he was right at the beginning when he believed that Sergeant Russell thought that he was sexy, because she gave him the benefit of the doubt. She could have easily locked him up on Christmas Eve of all days.
So she sends Corey Feldman home, and at the same time she goes to his old place to do a little investigating, because she's somehow invested in Corey Feldman. Which,
Exactly.
hey, don't blame her.
Yep, who wouldn't be?
But then this thing happens, which they are trying so hard in this movie to make Pop Goes the Weasel be menacing in some manner, and they
Yeah.
never succeed.
They really don't. Obviously, one of the demonic toys is, in fact, a Jack-in-the-Box, to where the Virgin security guard from early on had to turn it because she was told to, and ultimately that led to her demise. But yeah, they play it as much as possible just to, I guess, annoy you at this point in time, because yeah, there was nothing menacing about it at all.
They're trying to be menacing, like doom 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 doom.
Yeah, and making sure they put in the dramatic pauses there, just to get you on the edge of your seat for this very, very frightening movie.
And yeah, so she gets attacked by the demonic toys, and she just shoots the bear.
As you
And
should.
that just works.
Yeah.
That just works.
I mean, if
Kind of
I'm
a shitty demonic thing, really.
in all, yeah, exactly. They're not really great demons by any means, but yes, if I had a bear with massive teeth making noise and moving, guess what? It's getting fucking shot. There is no doubt about
I mean,
it.
yeah, it's the best reaction in the whole movie. He just turns around and shoots the bear,
Yeah.
which then just goes flying, and that's him. He's done.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole scene for the most part. Except Baby Oopsie is also there because they're hoping to get Corey Feldman. But Baby Oopsie's there. She never encounters him. But that's because as soon as she sees the bear, she gets the fuck out of there. She's scared, like you would be. But
Well, I mean, yeah, if fucking toys would come to life and try to eat you.
But needless to say, Baby Oopsie was in fact there. In fact, as she goes out and runs to her car, and as she's driving off, you see Baby Oopsie holding on to the license plate as she's driving off, so she can, so Baby Oopsie can trail them to find out where she's going, and hopefully find Toulon and his daughter.
And when she drives away, baby's oopsie's butt flap opens up and he farts.
Yeah, this is a very, very frightening horror movie. But every time it cuts to this fucking baby who has a very Italian, like New Jersey accent. Hey, Toots, what are you doing, bitch? It just over and over.
Penis for you.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a shit. They didn't say shit because that was a PG movie, but yeah, pretty much constant flatulence and poop related humor coming from this, what is supposed to be a very scary living doll.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all like everything he says is either a poop joke, a fart joke, or a dick joke.
Pretty much, yeah. Or saying bitch because they could get away with bitch on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah. So, and we cut back to the Toulons, Corey Feldman and daughter, and we learned that apparently Corey Feldman has been working on miniature cybernetic weaponry while his daughter was away at boarding school.
Yeah, they never really got into this. The whole thing is you think of somebody who is a expert toy maker because that's kind of his lineage. That's what he comes from. But yeah, yes. Needless to say, he learned how to make major weapons. And a 6-shooter is not good whenever he runs out of bullets. So what naturally would you give 6-shooter since where he couldn't run out of bullets?
Well, you give him lasers.
Yeah, fucking lasers.
Fucking lasers. I mean, but how they glossed over it because, like, I thought, like, once he got the puppets, all he did was, work on getting the puppets to life.
Yeah.
So apparently he was working on this miniature cybernetic weaponry before he got the puppets.
He had to. If he didn't have enough time to work out all this intricate weaponry that all of a sudden are just attached to the puppets now.
And just how this all came together is just baffling.
Exactly. So yeah, needless to say,
let's talk about the cyberized puppets.
All right, let's start off with let's say Pinhead. Pinhead initially, I thought they were just upgrading him because they showed like a metal cybernetic skeleton. I was like, okay, well maybe they're just putting a new arm on him or new hands. No, they left him with fucking cybernetic arms.
They just jaxed him. They gave him Jax's arms.
He became Jax from Mortal Kombat. Is exactly what Pinhead is now.
And 6-shooter became Kano from Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
He even had the eye laser and shit.
Well, to be 100% fair, that was just like a piece of plastic that was lightly taped onto 6-shooter's face. They didn't even really try that much at all. The little guns were just spray painted like dollar store guns that you can get that just go pew, pew, pew.
Like a lot of super glue went into this.
Oh, yeah. At this point in time, he's like, you know what? We have these amazing iconic puppets from a horror series that has done so well. What should we do? Let's fuck them all up. Let's put plastic on.
Bunch of plastic on them.
Exactly. The only one that got out of it totally free of any type of upgrade, I believe, was Blade. Blade, I think, looked the same.
Blade's knife and hook looked a bit different.
Yeah, a little bit shinier, maybe. Maybe he shined it up a little bit.
And like a little more like jagged, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, also there was Jester, which Jester was always kind of useless because all he did is his face changed from happy to sad to mad. So they gave him a fucking mace as a hand, which,
fucking blue.
Yep, just a big ass mace bigger than his head on the end of it, which he has to show off that it's quite powerful afterwards. So he bashes a little box covered in aluminum foil. Callback.
Go on.
So yeah, calling back to Star Babe, we have 2 movies now that have used tinfoil for really no fucking reason. But so yeah, pretty much it's Puppet Master 2.0. These puppets aren't going to take any shit.
And Corey Feldman goes like, so much more powerful. and his daughter is like, they're like cooler than ever. They are trying so hard to sell this shit.
Yeah.
But it falls so fucking flat on its ass because they look like garbage now.
They really look just 100% more poor. This is what I was going into a little bit earlier. I intentionally looked up the company that worked on these puppets specifically. They worked on two other,
because these are not the same puppets as
No.
were used in the Full Moon series.
Exactly,
They've been,
none of them.
They've been unmanaged a bit.
Exactly. Although the same company that did the puppets from Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, they did two of the later Puppet Master movies. I don't remember which one. One of them was the one where they go to Nazi Germany.
Axis of Evil and
The other one.
10, I think.
There you go. So yeah, they have some experience in the movies, but they look good enough before the modifications. After the modifications, they literally look like bad 1990s toys.
They just look like fucking garbage.
Yeah.
They look like somebody took like good toys and broke them and just super glued a bunch of plastic and said, okay, that's good.
Yeah, good enough. So yeah, pretty much. But now, I mean, obviously we know now that he's gone through these massive upgrades. Toulon means business. Corey Feldman's out for war.
I just can't get, how like Corey Feldman is selling these upgrades so hard. He sells harder than a jobber at WrestleMania. Like he's like Jey Uso at WrestleMania, just selling these puppets. They're so badass.
Yeah, they're gonna be the best shit ever.
They're garbage. They
Yeah.
look terrible.
Yeah, it makes me really wonder why they even did that. Because, I mean, obviously it's been proven in the past movies, the puppets are very effective in killing. They don't need silly plastic upgrades. They're good at what they do.
Like, I bet it looked great in the script, but, I mean, and like just the whole final act of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no way that this was in what was in the script.
No, not at all.
There's no way that this was what was in the script.
I would say somewhere in Act 2, they lost all their money. Like, just something happened, somebody got in a car wreck or something like that. Literally every dollar that went into this movie was just lost. So they had to make up for that in the worst ways possible.
So, like, okay, so we'll just glue a bunch of plastic on the dolls. That's their upgrades.
Yep, that was about it.
So we had to shop industries for the final confrontation. Sergeant Russells joins them, and she's like, okay, I'm on board now, and let's go fight the demons. And they go fight the demons, which, so that the final fight scene. No, wait. There's one more thing.
Oh, I wanted to point out specifically when Sergeant Russell's actually got in to the toy factory, that really horrible security guard that led Corey Feldman through on the bottom of the truck. This time he was out for blood. I think he must have gotten yelled at because the first thing he does after seeing a police officer still in police garb walking through their gates is to pull a gun on her and shoot at her. So naturally,
without just any warning.
No, hey, you, bam. Fortunately, he misses. Sergeant Russell gets out of the way and gives a fatal.
We kind of forgot that the shop, Vanessa Angel and company, kidnapped Corey Feldman's teenage daughter.
That is true because Baby Oopsie was on the back of Sergeant Russell's car whenever she found Corey Feldman somehow.
Yeah. He finds Corey Feldman. So Baby Oopsie's butt flap flips open, and he fought so hard that he is propelled into the air, hits Corey Feldman in the face, and knocks him out.
Yep. Because science, man.
This is Wario science.
So yeah, needless to say, yeah.
So. Like this whole the whole final act is just so disappointing. It
really is
kind of amazing.
That's the whole thing because going up into it up until now, absolutely fun, absolutely really enjoyable movie. But yeah, the third act hits you like a fucking brick wall.
yeah, so they take the teenage daughter and put her in the Iron Maiden and are going to sacrifice her to Bale, and he must have the Toulon blood because, as it turns out, he was the original. Like he was the one who gave the original Toulon the knowledge to make the puppets
Exactly.
or make the formula. So, but he cheated the demon by implanting his soul into a tree, and that tree was then used to make the first puppets.
Yep. This is all from the movie.
And yeah, so that's the whole reason why the demon wants revenge.
Yep.
And so he must have the blood of a Toulon. While at this, so Alex, Corey Feldman's teenage daughter, is there. She's trapped in the Iron Maiden. Meanwhile, Corey Feldman is brought up to Vanessa Angel's office, and she just wants to bone him.
Yep, just straight fucking. No reason initially, but she definitely wants to fuck Corey Feldman, which, you know what, can't blame her.
Well, I mean, it's kind of brought into, it's kind of alluded to that she wants him to impregnate her, so she has the Toulon blood, control over that. So she can control the puppets.
Even though Bale was so intent on that the last of the Toulon blood would be removed that evening before the great sacrifice happens. But, and that's, Jessica, she doesn't care. She wants Toulon, Corey Feldman deep inside of her to give her a baby.
Yeah. But Corey Feldman says no.
He has
she just...
Yeah, he has a thing for cops, obviously.
Yeah, so she just, goes away. The puppets break out of their steel prison.
Yep, bulletproof, as they say.
Bulletproof, not laser-proof.
No, of course not.
So the cybernetic upgrades were definitely validated there.
Exactly. And we do get the first official demonic toy versus the Puppet Master puppets.
Yeah. With Jack in the Box versus Blade.
Kind of all of them, yeah. It was a little bit unfair, honestly.
Except Jester, because Jester is fucking useless as always.
Even with the mace hand.
Even with the Morningstar for a hand.
So yeah, needless to say, they instead of actually killing Jack in the Box, they just tie him up to the box that they were secured in. Because why not?
Yeah, and just, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then takes us to the big action scene where we get Bale. He comes in a Santa suit.
Yep, because it's Christmas Eve.
Demon in a Santa suit.
Mm-hmm. Even demons celebrate Christmas.
Yes, because of reasons.
Yep, none given, but that's all you need.
Okay. This final act.
Take a breath. Yeah, it's needed.
So they go, and the final scene is just everybody's fighting everybody.
Oh yeah.
Which then amounts to a henchman shooting at Six Shooter and Sergeant Russell. Nobody hits shit.
No.
They fire an absurd amount of bullets without anybody getting hit.
Yeah, it almost looked like a buddy cop movie because Six Shooter was right there beside Sergeant Russell's, and they were just shooting at the one guy who had a gun, and just kind of just going back to back. I'd actually watch that movie. I'm gonna pitch that to the Sci-Fi Network. Buddy cop with Sergeant Russell.
They own back.
Okay, they got it back.
They got the right back.
All right, cool. Then I'll talk to them.
Charlie, got it, baby. Okay, so I don't even remember what most of the people were doing in that final act. It was so underwhelming.
It was a very, obviously Corey Feldman's teenage daughter was put into the Iron Maiden, which you actually have to work a device to make the spikes come out, which therefore bleeds the person. The blood comes into a reservoir, and that
it's a blood extractor, as they say.
There we go. Kind of like a orange squeezer, like whenever you get an orange juice, you squeeze it, something like that.
Yeah, with humans.
Exactly. So the process was going on very slowly, of course, because it's a third act and they're in a villain's lair.
Yeah, a lot slower than it was with the receptionist.
Exactly. Yeah, they just fucking offed her. She wasn't that important.
Oh yeah, and they also bring a receptionist to there, and like, oh, the blood extractor is occupied, so they just throw her into the pit from hell,
Yeah, just kind of
and
throw it
that
into the pit.
works.
Exactly. I mean, the whole thing is
So the blood extractor is completely
useless.
like
Yeah,
just it's completely superfluous. It's needlessly complicating the process.
very much so. Especially when they have other means of getting blood out. So yeah,
Just throw people in a pit.
yeah,
It's pretty easy.
that's pretty much all you need. Bale seemed happy with it. I mean, he was very jolly, I would say.
So yeah, but I have to say though, Danielle Keaton is an amazing screamer.
She is. She did a really good job. She could have easily been.
She was the only bright spot in that terrible third act was her screaming because she just gave it her all.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would definitely put her up against any of the other '80s scream queens because she did a really good job there. I appreciated that.
Like this was like little psycho level of screaming.
Oh yeah. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, I'm the same way as you. Just I enjoyed the whole movie, and then the third act happened. It's just like, whatever.
No, but it was just so fucking lame. It kind of was amazing.
All right, shall we go ahead and reveal what happens at the end?
Yeah, so like there's a fight and everything like is going on, and like even Vanessa Angel is trying to hand crank the blood extractor to get her blood out of it because Blade ruined the mechanism.
Yep.
But then just Bale says, "Time's up.
Yep.
Blood has not been spilled and the sun is up. So
Yep.
everything is over."
Yep. That's the climax. No bullshit. Time's up.
Time's up.
You're run out of time. So it's like a really shit video game. Like your time's up, your game's over. Try again next time.
But yeah, so he takes her to hell to renegotiate the contract or something.
Exactly, and
that's just the end of it.
Yep, that's really it.
It's amazingly bad.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing is, I was literally, as I was watching this movie, and of course it's a B movie, of course it's a silly aspect movie, I was thinking up until the third act, I was like, I don't know if we're really going to be able to do this for Cinema Grotesque. It's not that bad of a film. It's not that silly. And then the fucking third act happened. I was like, wow.
And it's just a balloon, like, deflated.
Yeah, it was like there was a lot of momentum going with the story. Say what you will about it. Yes, it had silly aspects. It had almost ridiculous things going on, of course. But
it had Corey Feldman doing Nicolas Cage as Solid Snake.
Exactly. And then, yeah, literally in a snap of the finger, Bale, this massive demon, is just like, nope, you fucked up. You're out of time. Game's over. Have a nice day. Taking you to hell. And that's the end of the movie, pretty much.
Yeah, well, like we don't even get any resolution of what happened to Julian.
No. Well, yeah, we did. Julian did die. His eyes exploded.
Oh, right. Jack in the Box screamed.
Yeah, exactly.
His eyes exploded.
Yeah, which had no type of really meaning at all. It was just kind of getting from point A to point B.
It was nothing that was foreshadowed or anything. He just all of a sudden was kind of helping Corey Feldman, and then Jack in the Box killed him.
Yep. And yeah. So
our happy ending is that Sergeant Russell invites Corey Feldman and his teenage daughter to Christmas dinner.
Yep.
Yay!
They're all very happy about that as well. And then they
they're
sing,
like stoked.
And then they sing Christmas carols as they're walking off with the box of living puppets.
Yes.
So after we sit through all that, it's
that final act is just like it's bad, it's terrible, but it's just like just seeing it go from like going at a full pace, like going strong to just fucking hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There was no light breaking here. It was just a full on brick wall. This is where we're stopping the movie. Why are you stopping the movie here? It's not even 90 minutes yet.
I have no money.
We have zero money. Our scriptwriter just told us to fuck off and didn't write us the end of it. So this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that like must have been what happened, because there's no way a writer would put this in a script.
Yeah.
Well, time's over. Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was, in fact, Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. I got a question for you, Eagle. Again,
Yeah.
would you recommend this to other people?
With like in a heartbeat, just for Corey Feldman. He fucking carries this movie. I mean, he doesn't have a lot to do in the third act, which is kind of why it sort of implodes on itself.
Agreed. Yeah, I would say the exact same thing.
Yeah, and also the implosion at the end is just an amazing thing to see, because you don't see this in film, because this is just too bad for anything.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know many people that would enjoy this recommendation, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, for a very, very low budget B movie, I had a really good time watching this. I don't have any type of issues. I can honestly see watching this again, and I can't say that was Star Babe at all.
Yeah, no. Like this was probably my third or fourth time watching this film. I love this film.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's fucking unique, because it has both Corey Feldman just fucking tour de force and the most hilarious implosion ending ever.
And I'll have to say, the one thing that disappointed me, I mean, obviously this was a PG-13 movie. We went from a porn movie to a movie that the most titillating thing it showed was a woman in her bra. And that threw me off, because this is the type of movie that usually depends on tits to get views, but they didn't do it. And you know what? I'm fine with that. Still enjoyed it. I'll give it high recommendation on my part. Well worth checking out. If you get an opportunity, some of it can even be found online, maybe even on YouTube. Take a look at it. Have fun with it. If you have any background, even if you have zero background in full moon movies, in any type of B movies, have a look. If nothing else, it's fun. Have a couple drinks, relax, and just enjoy
just for Corey Feldman.
Exactly. I mean, enjoy the ridiculousness of it.
He's had a tough life. You should enjoy like his last like real performance.
Exactly. So yeah, give it a go and see what you like. But we've got something very special coming up next week. This is actually one of my favorite horrible 80s B movies. It's known as Joysticks. For some of the people that we have listening to us, this will make a little bit more sense to them. The first time I spoke with a Mr. Jonathan Holmes, current editor of Destructoid.com, the conversation we had was entirely about this movie, Joysticks. It is a tour de force 80s comedy, sex comedy set in a 80s arcade. There's everything. There's tits. There's arcade games. It is a horrible comedy, absolutely miserable comedy, but it is so fun. It is essentially Porky's in an arcade. I can't wait for Agil to watch this.
Yeah, I haven't. I've just heard of this movie. I haven't seen it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Exactly.
So, are you doing anything else, Travis?
Not really. You can always go on over to shattered.media. I've got a couple new shows coming up. We have a new editor on staff over at shattered.media. You want to check out Thomas Ferrara, way down from the land down under. He's full of chunder, and we also have a new show coming out today, in fact, the day of this recording, which is Saturday the 2nd, called Travis versus Thomas. It's a show that we used to do back on our personal channels, but now it's personal. So take a look. Come on over to Shatter.media. There's a bunch of fun stuff. What have you been up to, Mr. Eagle Anderson?
I know I promised that the Mortal Kombat article would go up before this episode, but man, it's just taking it. The bullshit is just keeps piling up, and I'm having a tough time scaling it all. I'm still working on it. I hope it'll be up soon.
And we're all definitely excited to see that. But it's that time again. It's time to say goodbye until next week. Everybody, thanks again for watching. We got pretty good numbers, better numbers than I was expecting on the first episode with Star Babe, and we're going to look to keep growing this podcast. We're having a blast doing it, having a blast watching shitty / amazing movies, and we hope you're having a good time as well hearing us talking about them.
Yeah, that's it. So until next time.
Until next time, you have been watching Cinema Grotesque.